Yeah. Anyway. All right. What's up, everybody? It's been a little bit since been able to go live. Had some internet issues, mainly here at the office or the studio. We've been having to bring in our Starlink out here. And anyway, we finally got internet going up here. So a little smoother transition. Hoping everything uh, comes out good. We don't have any uh, that screen freezing and all that other stuff. It's like I don't know how much upload speed is required, but it seems to be a constant issue in this area of getting internet that will actually um, work efficiently for a live stream, which is what we're doing today. So anyway, man, miss being out here. PJ wasn't able to make it to this episode. Um, we have some stuff coming up in the future that is going to really be good. We have some individuals that we will be interviewing, but we also, I really feel like the Lord has led me to start doing Bible teaching that is basically uncensored. Listen, I don't know if y'all have read your Bible, but when you actually read the Bible, it is wild. It cracks me up when people like really get into these shows like Yellowstone and like Game of Thrones and like all these racy dramas that are like that are, have all the different things. Like there's always a struggle for, sex and power and meaning and all these other things. Like, man, y'all had read this Bible, because if you read especially in the Old Testament, man, some of that stuff is wild. uh I mean, they don't make Veggie Tales about a lot of it. The ones they do, you have to sugarcoat it in a way, for the kids to see it, but man, there's some details left out. So that's something I think that I'm going to start doing. I don't know if we'll do that live because there's a lot of content, and but we will get those videos up, and basically it's just going to be uncensored Bible. I'm not going to protect anybody from their Bible, uh, and you should know what's in there, and it shouldn't be watered down to to help anybody's feelings out, because man, there's some crazy stuff that goes on in there. One thing, like, uh this is we're not talking about this today, but man, like Jesus in the Old Testament, most of y'all didn't even know he was in there, or maybe did, I don't know. But Jesus in the Old Testament is referred to as the angel of the Lord. If you see any other references to angels, it'll say an angel, or the Lord sent an angel to send this message. Like, angels are basically messengers. Sometimes they were used to like destroy entire cities and civilizations like Sodom and Gomorrah. But if you see the angel of the Lord, that's Jesus. It's a reference. And, we don't have time to get into that tonight, but, and there's so much to back it. But the angel of the Lord, man, Jesus wiped out, the angel of the Lord, man, he did some damage in the Old Testament. There was like one couple of times he like wiped out 85,000 people. Like he assisted with taking out all the giant clans and stuff like that. I say assisted. He let some of the descendants of Esau do some of the work. But anyway, it's just wild to me. No wonder the demons are scared of him, right? Because if a demon is a disembodied spirit of a giant, well, they already know what goes down when the angel of the Lord shows up. So anyway, I just thought that was just something I wanted to throw in there. But yeah, so we'll be doing some uncensored Bible. And if you want to do something on your own, just look at the story of Samson. Man, that dude was wild. He was a good, and Samson served as a good example for us on what not to do as a minister of the Lord. And same thing with Jonah. Jonah and the whale and all this other stuff. Like Jonah, man, Jonah was Jonah was like the worst prophet of all time. Oh, it just cracks me up. Anyway, so getting in today, as you can see, the title is Blessings and Curses. And we're going to be focusing really on one specific Bible passage. and that is in Numbers 22. So if you want to get there, go ahead. But there's some stuff, and I had no idea. Like, if you don't know who Balaam is, Balaam was he was a prophet of God, and then he went to the dark side, and then now he's basically um I don't know what you call him, like some type of sorcerer. Like, he still works in the spirit realm, but he's working for the other team now. But I didn't know any of this growing up, because the only thing I remember from this story was the talking donkey. You know what I mean? Uh, and if you know anything about this story, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, I want to lay these things out because in our lives, I mean, the Bible is not just a story of what happened. Okay, it's a story of what always happens. Everything in the Bible is it it, it reflects to Jesus and his who he is, and you know, the person that he is. And the Old Testament is Jesus revealed, the New Testament, or Jesus concealed, the New Testament is Jesus revealed, and you can see his attributes in both. Okay, but it's also something we can look to see what's going to happen, because it's what always happens. You know, why do you think history is being trying to be buried right now by the other side? I mean, because if you know what happened before, then you can try and prevent it. But if you're willing to um, destroy history, well, you can just die. You know, new times, old demons. Anyway, I'm gonna pull this up. I'm just gonna read from the blue letter Bible, and I have it pulled up here, and we'll take a look at this. Oh, hey, I want to touch on one thing, okay? Because this is trending, and it's really cracks me up in a way. I shouldn't say cracks me up. It I don't know. It's just weird on how far these people are willing to go to hide Jesus in the media. And there's a film festival, the Cannes Film Festival. It's in South America, and they had a new film called El Cristo, and then there was some an actress named Maciel Tavares was promoting the film, and she's catching a lot of flack for this, or she's not. She's a gangster in my opinion, but she was just helping, you know, promote the movie and some other stuff, and they had a film festival, and she has this long train on her gown that has a picture of Jesus with a crown of thorns, and they're doing their best to keep anybody from seeing this thing, and she ends up, you know, going inside the festival, and then, you know, getting to showing a bunch of showing. Anyway, I'm going to pull this video up. Let me see. There shouldn't be any rights to this, so let's pull this up. Here we go. All right, so this is being played from Facebook. Now, this is her in the white. She's wearing this. You can see how long this gown is. Let me go ahead and start rolling on this video. Audio is all right. You can see the train right there of her gown. Look at this. I'm gonna pause it. Look at this. Look at these dudes. Like, they keep picking it up. Meanwhile, I'm gonna make this full screen. They keep picking this up. Meanwhile, the there's this lady security guard is trying to push her along. He's like, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Kind of looking back, making sure he's keeping it up. Look at her. What a gangster. Put it down. Trying to show Jesus to y'all. Look at them. They keep picking it up. They will not let Jesus be shown. Look at her. She is determined. There it is. Now watch her. What's this? Get off me, white lady. I love it. I love it. Man, listen, you have to be that way. Everybody, especially in the news media, any type of media outlet, they don't want Jesus. They don't want Jesus to be shown. They don't want anything that glorifies him to be up and out. Uh, they just don't want it to happen. So they're doing everything they can to keep him and the truth of Jesus out of everybody's view. Like, what are they so scared of? Hang on, I want to watch this again real quick. Y'all just look at this. Just look how hard they're going. They're trying their best. They keep picking it up. Look how long. Look how long these stairs are. This is a great opportunity for everybody to see. They are not letting it happen. She's trying, man. She's trying. And you know what is just absolutely amazing to me? The world didn't even know who this woman was, really, for the most part. And now they do. Now everybody's looking at Jesus. That's what I love about this. Look at her. She's militant. You have to be. Look at her. Watch her. Oh, this is my favorite part. Get off me. Oh man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna pull up another one of her. So she has actual posts, and I want y'all to see this too because um, this post is. I don't know if I can do this without showing her whole. Okay, maybe I can do it without showing the whole feed. Anyway, this is her. This is from her actual post. This is some of the photos that were taken, and see, this is what she's trying to show everybody. She ends up doing it. But look at these folks, man. Look at this dude. Look at this dude, third row up on the left. Like, what are you? Why is everybody gasping at Jesus? You know what I mean? And of course, this is a film festival. So whoever's there probably doesn't really care too much about Jesus. I mean, this lady on the right with her phone, what are you wearing? Like, leave something to the imagination. Did you just throw a bikini top onto? So I don't know. I don't know what all this is, but it just goes to show you, like, and if you stand up for Jesus, you're going to catch some flack, but even more people are going to see him and see your uh this is who she was promoting for her movie El Cristo. Anyway, I don't know anything about the movie. I'm not really into foreign film, but it is what it is. Okay. So anyway, I just want to share that because I mean that's where we're at, y'all. These are the days we live in. No, I'm not shocked. You're not shocked. Nobody's shocked. There was a NFL, I think, well, actually, he might have been a college standout at the time player, and most of y'all probably know. He was. They were asking him. I think he just won the Heisman. I'm messing all this up, but they were interviewing him like, how do you think you got here moving forward? And he's like, first of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and then boom, they're like, cut him off. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, well, we lost signal. Oh, that's just sad. Well, we want to congratulate him." Get out of here. Get out of here with that. So you can expect that if you try to stand up for Jesus. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. Blessings and curses. Boom. Okay. Most of y'all familiar with Job, the book that talks about perseverance and trusting God. And also it's hard to read, man. We're not going to be there today, but there's a premise in there that talks about Satan actually approaches the Lord, and Satan have a conversation, and God's like, "Hey, what about Job?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know. That guy's got it easy because you put a hedge around him. You put your angels around him. I can't do nothing. I can't do nothing with this guy. So I can't even test him. I can't even mess with this dude because you got all this protection around him." Anyway, we know the story kind of goes from there. If you don't read Job, it's fantastic. Um, but there is a spiritual principle that is laid out in Job that is also going to be in what we're talking about here in Numbers 22. And that principle is, if you are following the spiritual laws and guidelines, if you are in a constant relationship with God, he has a spirit of protection around you, and he will not let anyone or anything hurt you or curse you. It doesn't matter if it's black magic. It doesn't matter if it's Satan himself. It doesn't matter if it's our culture. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're going to be protected. So, and that's what we're going to look at today. So I'm going to pull up Numbers 22. I got the blue letter Bible here. I'm going to pull this up on the screen. Here we go. All right. I really, I don't know if I like this view. See, that's too small. I ain't doing that. Even that's too small. All right, we'll just go full view. Y'all ain't got to look at me anyway. All right, so we're going to start here. So to preface this, if you go back one chapter in Numbers 21, God has delivered Israel several times at this point in battle. They have conquered the Canaanites. They had conquered the Amorites. If you know anything about the bronze serpent that was being erected because people were getting bit by these snakes and dying, well, they erected a bronze serpent, and if you got bit, you just looked at it. Literally, you just looked at the thing and you were healed. Okay, that's the previous chapter. And they conquered Og of Bashan. If you do a study on Og, he was a giant. He was, I don't know, he was one of those half man, half Nephilim, half angel people, and he was the king of Bashan. And Bashan was at this time the mecca of demonic power, Baal worship, all these things. Like, they were just living, like, Bashan was the place, right? There's I'm gonna get off track. All right, so anyway, so God had just led them through all these different places, and they had conquered and Israel had conquered the Amorites. They had conquered the Canaanites and like all the ites, right? The termites, like, he took care of all of them. Now they're moving forward into Moab. Moab is also another territory that is demon worship, Baal worship, same thing. And they have a king who was doing pretty good, Balak. So don't get Balak and Balaam confused, okay? They're two different people. It's easy. These Bible names get me sometimes too. All right, I'm going back full screen. Now, we'll just start reading. Then the children of Israel moved and camped in the plains of Moab on the side of the Jordan across from Jericho. All right, they're moving into this territory. Now, Balak, the son of Zippor, that was the king, he saw that Israel had done to the Amorites. Moab, exceedingly afraid of the people because they were many, and Moab was sick with dread because of the children of Israel. This dude is super worried. He's like, dude, they just offed the king of Bashan. They just murdered everyone, that these nations that are more powerful than me. We ain't messing with these people because they're going to beat us. So Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company will lick up everything around us as an ox licks up the grass in the field. He's like, dude, they're going to take all of our resources. There's not going to be a blade of grass left. What are we going to do? He sent messengers to Balaam. This was his first. He already knew, okay? This king knew, I cannot defeat this nation because God is with them. I'm not even going to try to battle with them. I'm not even going to try to devise plans to come against them. I'm going to go to this dude, Balaam, because he was a prophet of God. Now he is a prophet for the other side. This dude's got to know how we can make this happen. So he sent messengers to Balaam. This is verse 5. Son of Beor, Pethor, which is near the river in the land of its sons of its people, calling and say, look, a people has come from Egypt. See, they cover the face of the earth and are settling next to me. He's like, man, these people are over here next to me. How do I get rid of them? How do I conquer them? Therefore, please come at once. Curse this people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom bless, that he's talking about Balaam. I know that who you bless is blessed and who you curse is cursed. Okay. He's asking Balaam, look, dude, you got to come help me out. These people are going to destroy me. If you put a curse on them, we can take them out. So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the diviner's fee in their hand, and they came to Balaam, and they told him these things. And he said to them, lodge here tonight, and I'll bring back to you, I'll bring word back to you as the Lord speaks to me. So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam. Look at this. Then God came to Balaam and said, who are these men with you? Like, who are you hanging out with? I know who these dudes are. And Balaam said, oh, this is Balak, son of Zippor, no big deal. He just told me, hey, look, a people's come from Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come now, curse them for me. Perhaps I shall be able to overpower them and drive them out. And God said, you shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed. I want you to see that. This is what God said. Whether God would have said this or not, Balaam would not have been able to do what he was going to do. Even though Balaam was evil at this point, God still knew enough to intervene and speak with him and let him know, because Balaam knows. Okay. So Balaam rose in the morning and said to the princes of Balak, look, go back. Okay. The Lord's refused to give me permission to go with you. And Balaam had enough sense. He ain't going, because that would have been certain death. Okay. The princes of Moab rose and went to Balak and said, look, Balaam would not come with us. So Balaam sent again more numerous princes, and he sent more more prestigious people, and whatever, to try and beg him. And they came to Balaam and said, listen, Balak says, please let nothing hinder you coming over here. Whatever it is, we'll do it. For I certainly will honor you greatly, and I'll do whatever you say to me. Therefore, please come, curse this people for me. He's like, look, I'll give you whatever you want, all the riches, all the whatever, just curse these people. And Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, listen, Balaam knows what's up. He said, though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. He's like, look, it doesn't matter if you give me the silver or the gold. I'm going to die if I go against Yahweh. Okay, if I go against the Lord. Now, therefore, please, you also stay here tonight, that I may know what more the Lord will say to me. And God came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only the word which I tell you to do, that's what you're going to say. He's like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead and go with them. And you'll talk to them, but you're only going to say what I tell you to say. Okay. So Balaam rose in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. Okay. Then God's anger was aroused because he went, and the angel of the Lord. Here's that thing here. Remember the angel of the Lord? Weren't we just talking about that? The angel of the Lord, that's Jesus, took his stand. Notice that H is capitalized. If it was an angel, that H wouldn't have been capitalized. His stand in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. Now the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. The donkey was like, nope, I ain't going. He just went off the road and into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey. Balaam starts whooping this donkey. Tried to get her back on the road. Verse 24. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow pathway between the vineyards with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. Basically cornered him up. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. And he hit her again. She's trying. Look, he's like, oh my gosh, clearly you can't see this, dude. So she gets to where she's trying to get his attention. The donkey, this is a smart donkey, by the way, crushes his foot, and he whoops her again. Then the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn. Like, notice Jesus brings him to a place. The angel of the Lord brings Balaam and the donkey to a place like, you cannot go to the left or the right. You're going to have to face me. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord. She laid down. She laid down under Balaam. Like, she just laid on the ground. Balaam still on her. His anger was aroused, and he struck the donkey. He beat her with her staff this time. Okay. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey. This is, excuse me. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times? Oh my gosh, help me here. This has to be Shrek, right? This has to be the donkey from Shrek. It has to be. I don't know where I was at. Anyway, my gosh, what's going on with my voice? So the donkey said to Balaam, he didn't even skip a beat. If a donkey turns around and talks to me and he's like, hey, bro, why are you hitting me? Like if I'm riding the donkey and he turns around and is like, hey, why are you hitting me? I'm probably going to be shocked. I'm probably going to be stunned a little bit. Balaam didn't skip a beat. Did not. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I got off track. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down on Balaam. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, said, what have I done to you that you struck me these three times? And then Balaam was not shocked. He was like, because Balaam said to the donkey, because you abused me. You just crushed my leg up against this wall. I wish there was a sword in my hand. I would kill you. That's how you know, my gosh, hang on. That's how you know Balaam was deeply involved in witchcraft. Because a talking animal did not faze him one bit. Oh my gosh. Anyway, he's like, I wish I had a sword to the staff. I'd just kill you. So the donkey's like, am I not your donkey? I want you've ridden ever since I became yours to this day. He's like, hey, haven't we been together for a while? Would I do you wrong? Was I ever disposed to do this to you? And Balaam was like, well, I guess not. You're right. We have been together for a while and you've done what you're supposed to do. Here's it. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes. Boom. And he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. So Balaam's like, oh, my bad. Yep, sorry. Didn't realize there was the angel of the Lord with a sword. I'm sorry, Lord. Gets on his face. And the angel of the Lord said to him, why have you struck your donkey, bro? Behold, I've come out here to oppose you. I've come out here to stand against you because your way is perverse before me. It's like, dude, you're over here trying to play both sides. You're trying to play the side of Balak. You're trying to play the side of, like, what are you doing, man? And Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I've sinned. You're right. I did not know you. I didn't know you were there. You stood in the way against me. Now, therefore, if it displeases you, I'll go back. Balaam's like, sorry, I didn't know you were there, Jesus. I'll go back this way. And then the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, go with the men. He's like, no, go on your way. But only the word that I tell you to speak, that's what you're going to speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. Listen, you need to keep that in the back of your mind, okay? Only the words that I allow you to speak is what you're going to speak. And Balaam knew that if he spoke anything other than what Jesus told him, other than what the angel of the Lord told him, he was going to die. So Balaam went with Balak and they came to Huzoth, right? Then Balak offered oxen and sheep and some, like they made a sacrifice to these other gods they had. And then Balaam gave it to him. So it was the next day, and we're going to go on to chapter 22 here. So it was the next day, and they brought him up to the high places of Baal. Okay, this is obvious. If you don't know what a high place is, it's an altar. It's a demonic altar to where humans can offer up whatever to deities in exchange for power, knowledge, all these other things, sacrifice. Anyway, from there, that he might observe the extent of the people. Okay, let's go to the next chapter. 23. I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to leave y'all hanging on this all the time. Then Balaam said to Balak, build 7 altars for me here and prepare for me here 7 bulls and 7 rams. If you know what this means, 7 altars for 7 bulls, and that is a sacrifice to Yahweh. That is not a sacrifice to these demon gods. So he had Balaam go to a demon altar and prepare 7 sacrifices on it. It's funny to me. It's just funny. He's like, yeah, go ahead. And we're just going to take over. Anyway, Balak did just as Balaam spoke. And Balak said, Balaam offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, stand by your burnt offering. I will perhaps go to the Lord, will come to meet me, and whatever he shows me, I will tell you. So he went to a desolate height. And God met Balaam and he said, I've prepared 7 altars and I have offered on each a bull and ram. Then the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return to Balak and speak. He's like, all right, go ahead and go to Balak and I'll tell you what to say. So he went back to Balak and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his oracle and said, Balak, the king of Moab, has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me, and come denounce Israel. How shall I, and this, look at this. How shall I curse what God has not cursed? And how shall I denounce whom the Lord has denounced? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills, behold, there a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself. Who can count the dust of Jacob, or number 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of righteous, and let my end be like this. He's saying, look, no one can do this. I cannot curse what God has not cursed. Y'all see that? That goes for you in your life. Nobody and nothing can curse in your life what God has not cursed. And this is because Israel is living righteously in the sight of the Lord. Yeah, they messed up. Yes, they sinned, but they repented and they made sacrifices as they were required to do through their prophets, and they went on. They didn't live in iniquity. Most of all, they did not serve the God of this world. As you can see, everyone around them is clearly serving demonic gods. Clearly. This is Baal country. This is deep Baal country. And and obviously they weren't just like worshiping random carvings and bronze statues. Like there was legitimate power. There was legitimate things that they got from serving these demons, or they wouldn't do it. Obviously, if we refuse to serve the culture, serve up, we have obviously, demonic stuff it's more out in the open now, but there's not like churches of Baal everywhere, right? They're not there right now. And maybe in the future if we keep going the way we're going. But it's not so oppressive now that living for the Lord is punishable by death and all these other things. Anyway, we'll keep going. I really want to get to the part. Let's see. Balak said to Balaam, what have you done? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you blessed them. Are you kidding me? So he answered and said, must I not take heed to speak what the Lord has put in my mouth? So Balaam erects 7 altars to Yahweh, and then he blesses Israel on Balak's home turf. It's hilarious to me. Then Balak said to him, please come with me to another place, for which you may see, so you shall see the outer part of them. You shall not see them all, curse them from me. He's like, okay, let's get out of here. You already messed this up because now you erected all these altars of Yahweh and blessed the people of Israel. Let's go to another spot. So he brought him to the field of Zophim and Pisgah and built 7 altars and altar. He did it on this place too. I'm sorry, this keeps cracking me up. He's like, all right, we'll go over here. And he does the same thing. Then the Lord met Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, all right, here we go again. Rise up, Balak, and listen. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. He has said, and he will not do, or he has spoken, and he will not make it good. Behold, I have received a command to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. Y'all need to take this seriously. This might be in the Old Testament, but the Bible is not just what happened. It's what always happens. If God has commanded to bless you, no one, no Satan, no warlock, none of these black magic people cannot reverse it. Only you can do that, by going astray and doing all these other things. Anyway, he has not observed iniquity in Jacob. This is it. Jacob is another name for Israel, not the actual person. This is the nation. Jacob's dead now. But listen, God has not observed iniquity in Jacob. This is why Israel is protected. Iniquity and sin are not the same thing. Okay. So don't get them confused. Iniquity and sin are not the same thing. Iniquity is continual, unrepented sin. Okay? That's it. Continual unrepentant sin. Sin is just messing up. That's it. Oh, you messed up. You did this, you did that. Whatever. Just repent and move on. And it's not a big deal. God's not going to hold that against you. We all mess up. Sin means to miss the mark. Iniquity means to live in constant unrepented sin. And sin, uh, it's meant for our own destruction. I know because I about destroyed myself several times because of it. Anyway, we're not going to go into all that. He has not observed iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen wickedness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brings them out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. Again, divination, witchcraft. It now must be said of Jacob and of Israel, oh, what God has done. Look, a people rises like a lioness and lifts itself up like a lion. It shall not lie down until it devours the prey and drinks the blood of the slain. Ooh, that's some violent language. Then Balak said to Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. He's like, you know what? Just forget it. Don't curse them. Don't bless them. Just don't do anything. Then Balaam answered and said to Balak, did I not tell you? Look, bro, that's what I'm trying to tell you. All that the Lord speaks, that's what I got to do. Balaam was not serving God. So don't get it twisted. Balaam was not serving God in this capacity. He was at one point, and then he went to the other side. Otherwise, a wicked king that, of Baal would not be trying to entice him. He couldn't do that to a prophet of God. Then Balak, let me see. We're going to move forward here. We'll be on here all night. I love this, though. These stories crack me up. Oh, my gosh. Let's see. I think we need to go to 25. Okay. Let me back up a little bit. We'll go to. Okay, so this is 24. Here's what I'm. So eventually they keep doing this back and forth. Okay. And Balaam basically comes up with a plan. He's like, look, you can't curse them. You can't do it. You can't, because they're living according to the word of the Lord. They're living righteously in his eyes. They're seeking relationship. They're repenting. All that. You can't do it. So they come up with a plan. And that plan is to send these Moabite women to seduce the prophets and the men of God. That's what the plan is. Because once they do that and they violate God's law and they live in this continuous sin, now they're open. Okay. Now God cannot protect them because of their own actions, their own iniquities. They could have repented at any time and made this right, but they didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna go to 25. Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove, so they had already moved on at this point, and began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. Now, harlotry, if you know, is just, they were engaging in prostitution. Okay. And it says now Israel. Okay. This is like all of them, or as many of them that were willing to do it. They opened themselves up to them. They invited the people to, this is the big one right here. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So yeah, that started with the harlotry. All right. They started engaging with these prostitutes, these Moab prostitutes. And then after they moved on into demon worship. This little G right here, that's a little G for a reason. Okay. So they basically said, all right, yeah, well, whatever y'all want to do, ladies. So they started serving their gods. So this is it right here. So Israel was now joined to Baal of Peor. Okay. That was just the god of that region, the Baal god of that region. And the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. Dang, if y'all didn't mess up. Then the Lord said to Moses, Take all the leaders of the people and hang the offenders before the Lord out in the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may return away from Israel. So Moses said to the judges of Israel, ever one of you kill these men who have joined the battle. So it's like, all right, y'all got to take care of this, or the whole nation's going to suffer, because Moab's going to come in and enslave everybody. And it was a lot. And there was a plague that came after that. Look down here. Yeah. And those who died in the plague, 40,000 men. God sent a plague. Like, here's the deal. Some of y'all, and we can take this metaphorically into our own lives. Once you fall off into sin to the point to where you're serving other gods, whether you know it or not, God's going to do something to try to turn your head back. So you might meet some adversity, but it's the point when you're at the point of no return is whenever you really engage these different. It's not that I got to be careful how I say this. When you live in constant iniquity and it's not just messing up. Don't hear me. Oh, I'm not telling you if you smoke weed and do all these other things, like that's it. God's gonna have you hung and he's gonna send a plague for you. That's what I'm saying. But you are removing your protection that he provides because you came out of relationship with him. That's what this is. These folks, they cheated on their true love. They have you forgotten your first love? That's what they did. They left. They're like, yeah, God, this is great. Thanks for the manna. Thanks for the fire by night and the cloud by day and the water from the rock. We're good though. We got this whole Baal thing, and these chicks are pretty hot from Moab, so we kind of got a good thing going here. And God's like, all right, cool. We'll see how that works. Anyway, and if you go down here, the Midianites ended up attacking them. The Moabites ended up taking them. Like, Israel went back into slavery. It's a continual cycle. Oh man. And it happened every time. It's sad. Like, if we can look at Israel, they did the same thing every time. It's like the next generation got it, and then they came back to the Lord. But then their children, they didn't know, so they strayed, or it skipped a generation, and they eventually got away from the Lord. And we are not the new Israel, Matt. I love you, bro. You're not. We are not. That I could argue with you all day long about that. We are not the new Israel. There ain't no way. But anyway, that's all I want to share with y'all. That is a biblical principle, and that goes into every part. Like, you got to understand, these are principles, because if you're living blindly, you don't know what's going on. If you don't know what rights you have, what inheritance you have, the principles you have, the protection you have, and the relationship you can have. I always looked at God like he was some cosmic cop out there that was, I don't know, just ready for me to mess up and zap me and, all this other stuff. That's not true. He's a true father. He desperately, he desperately wants a relationship with us. No, we're not. No, we're not, Matt. I love you. I miss you, bro. But I don't know. That's just what I want to get across, because if we stay true, and it's not just about following the rules. That's what I want to point out too. It's not like, oh, I better follow the rules, or God's going to take it out in doctor bills. That's not it. He just wants relationship. And if you decide to leave that relationship and go with another, and in this case, Israel, it's always demonic gods. If you decide to leave that relationship and go into covenant with a wicked nation and wicked people, wicked entities, he's going to let you do it. And they're meant for your destruction. Obviously, the Old Testament, they were in a different covenant. We're under a new covenant now. God's wrath was poured out on Jesus. It ain't going to be poured out on you. But you can absolutely open yourself up to curses by making covenants with other entities. Obviously, I agree with that, Matt. We are God's new children, but we're not Israel. I love you guys. So that's it for today. I mean, I know it's a short episode. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, man. and it's going to be uncensored Bible. Like, it's not going to be your VeggieTale stuff. There's a lot of blood, gore, and things I probably probably should do some type of adult content warning next time we do one of these, because it's going to be uncensored, and it's not going to be, probably shouldn't let your children listen to it. It's not going to be vulgar. It's just going to be the Bible, the stuff that no one wants to preach or talk about, because people would leave the church because they don't understand. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's all I got. So I hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to pray for y'all, and I'm getting out of here. Lord, thank you so much for these people. Thank you for every single one that logged in and listened to this, or that will listen to this, or even watch this for 2 seconds and clicked off. Lord, just bless them. And I thank you so much for Jesus. Thank you for allowing us to have discussions and interact with each other. But ultimately, we just are so thankful for Jesus. We're so thankful for the sacrifice that was made for us to allow us to be your children. So I just pray that everybody would come to know Jesus and what he did for us, and ultimately be able to spend eternity with you. Anyway, thank you so much, Father. Amen. Love you.